So I guess my reflection of the class, I already know a lot of this content coming in, but there were some key things that stuck out with me. One of the first things I remember, one of the more important things that stuck out was the multicultural panel. That one, particularly, I can't remember the speaker's name, but him being black and gay, and I just felt like even though I wasn't gay, I could relate to him because everything he was saying was that deep. Particularly when you're a good speaker, you should be able to make your audience relate to you, even if they're not necessarily, even if, me not being gay, I'm not a gay black man. But like I said, if you're a good speaker, I should be able to relate to you in that fashion. In particular, not just that, I also like the fact that he was talking about how before he went to college, he was around a bunch of black people. I wasn't necessarily in that same predicament, but I was in predominantly black and Hispanic areas, like I told you guys before. And it's a change when you go to college. Like I've always said, I didn't even really thoroughly have a concept of racism and systematic oppression and stuff like that until I got to Washington State, at the university I was attending. And also, I'm terrible with names, as you already know. But I also, I believe the TA said that was her mother, the multiracial woman. I also liked her portion, particularly speaking about how she's faced, discrimination from both sides. It's something I always know, but I don't really thoroughly take into account, even though I realize as being mixed, white people are gonna see you as black. Black people, we're gonna see you as being mixed. You're obviously not as black as me. You look kind of white. And I like the fact she expanded on it. And she was talking about how when she was at Stanford, particularly her crowd of people were giving her the whole white bright, you could fit in with, white society thing because you're better than the rest of the black people. And, that affected the black people negatively. And all that kind of leads into colorism. So, just to define that for the class one last time as I keep butchering it because it's hard to kind of define what I'm saying. Pretty much what I'm saying is, you don't have to be black to experience colorism. Like a dark-skinned Hispanic male compared to a white-skinned Hispanic male, it's going to experience, a different amount of racial oppression between the two. But at the end of the day, they're still Hispanic, and they're still going to suffer oppression. And I completely understand that, wholeheartedly. But the point that people are missing in the class is that there is a level to racial discrimination. We all do not experience the same type of racial discrimination. That's why they coined the term intersectionality. What makes up you plays a role into your discrimination. Particularly being a light skin, a whiter skin, like a Jody skin tone male. Compared to me, I'm not as dark as it gets. I fully understand that. But compared to me being dark skinned, that's going to be two different, that plays a role into my intersectionality, and we're going to experience not exactly the same racial, oppression. I understand there's some people who don't give a, be completely explicit. There's some people who don't give a fuck. It doesn't matter how light you are, it doesn't matter, as long as you're black, you're black. But at the same time, some of these lighter skinned black people can pass for white to a certain extent. Just the same as a white skinned Hispanic male can pass for Hispanic. Not Hispanic, for a white male. And, that's pretty much all I have to really say about colorism, I guess, as long as you hit that point. Probably still didn't hit it correctly, but, as far as the class goes, like my summary of the class, how much did I learn from it? I learned a decent amount, particularly one of the things that stuck with me was, Tristan, can't remember what his last name was, the one who's not mixed, though. That Tristan, I remember he said something about how, as a black male, if one black male messes up, we kind of all subsequently get grouped into that class, and then I remember Jody said something like, but don't you do it with white people too? And I was like, I never really thought about that. I kind of do that as well. It's kind of like, my unconscious cue with some white people is like, oh, dude, you're automatically racist, so. And that's because of the people I've come to know in life. Some of the people I've, been subjected to make me feel that way. But, as far as, did people learn stuff in the class? I don't think they did too much. I feel like a lot of people are going to claim, when we see these videos, I guarantee about 80% of them are going to be like, oh yeah, I learned so much and my life changed and I'm looking at this different. And it's like, those same people probably didn't even speak up. So I'm not really buying it. I feel like probably 10-15% of it is genuine. The rest of it's not. Like, the best class we had was the one the previous week. And the reason that class was so good is because we had people speak their differences, compared to just not talking at all. Like I said, a majority of this class, I feel like I didn't learn too much because people didn't speak up. People were too scared to talk, and ultimately it just kind of came whatever the status quo was, whatever seemed the most righteous, that's what we agreed upon. It's unfortunate because that's what we do in society, and then we have those closeted, the hidden races and all that stuff, and that's not going to change if people continue to not speak up.